A study has found insufficient evidence that gaming is a clinical disorder. The Twitch streamer Shroud has officially moved to Mixer. The US Congress has sent Blizzard a letter urging them to reconsider Blitzchung's suspension. And Google has very quietly announced the launch date of Stadia. But first, what makes a game of the year? This is Arcadian Insight. Okay, welcome to episode number 36 of Arcadian Insight. So the Golden Joystick Awards just put out a poll last week where you could vote for the 2019 Game of the Year. The Game Awards will also be live on December 12th, and it doesn't really seem like it, but we're really at the end of the year here. It's kind of amazing. But it's really got me thinking a lot about what makes a game the Game of the Year. Video games expand across such a wide variety of genres and experiences. What qualities make a game stand out so much from the rest that can be chosen as the best? I think before we dive into just that question, I mean, that's going to be the frame of today's show, but I'd really like just to dive into the Joystick Awards 2019 Best Games of the Year list and really just get your opinions on, one, just what's on there, maybe two, what's not on there, and three, maybe just which one you would choose out of that list. So the games that you could choose from in the poll were Apex Legends, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which came out like 2 days ago, so I don't know how it's on there. Control, Disco Elysium, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Gears 5, Outer Wilds, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Telling Lies, The Outer Worlds, not to be confused with Outer Wilds, and Untitled Goose Game. So I don't know what you guys think of that, but any surprises there? Anything that you maybe would have liked to see that you don't see?
I'm absolutely shocked that Fortnite's not on there. No, seriously, like Fortnite, like why? How's Fortnite not on there? Doesn't
What, Fortnite 2?
It's too old, man.
Well, it didn't get released in 2019, you big dingus.
Fortnite 2 did. Fucking Call of Duty's been out for 2 days. What the fuck's the difference?
That's actually
Fortnite 2's been out longer than Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
That's actually, well, that's a huge question that I have for the back end of the show, and that's all about like, okay, we have these games now that are live service models that like still potentially could be the Game of the Year. To Dave's point, like, are the Game Awards behind in their selection process? Does there need to be like another category for these live service models? I think, but before we get into that, let's focus on the list at hand. And Dave, games that released in 2019.
Fortnite 2.
Oh my God.
I'm just gonna have to say the Goose Game has got to be the top.
You think it's
top on that list? Yeah.
Is that what you would vote for?
Yeah. I just got to say that this October has been the worst Broketober I've seen in a long time. Like 2019 has pretty much sucked.
I'm not familiar.
Games.
What's Broketober?
It's like a lot of games release in October. Normally.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So people say Broketober because you're spending a lot of money on games. Like, what's
Okay.
come out in
broke.
October?
Go broke, son.
Name 5 games that have come out in October. That have
Fortnite
had
2.
I can't think of anything other than
Outer
Fortnite
Worlds.
2 now.
Outer Worlds. Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
I'm done. I'm done. I actually, that's all.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was gonna pick one from this list, it'd be Sekiro, hands down, no questions asked.
Another question: why is WoW Classic not on there?
That's interesting. Maybe it just didn't make the
Yeah.
cut. It might have not made the cut. Because you can't say 'cause it's a remake because Resident Evil's on. And that's a remake.
Well, do you know what I want to say about that? I feel like there's kind of I felt like there was a little bit of like a dichotomy here where
Oh, there's definitely a dichotomy.
I mean, with online games and strictly online games and like those single player story based or like hybrid games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but then you have Apex Legends. Like straight up, like how do you compare those two to begin with? So then, like Dave said, WoW Classic, I mean, can you put that on there? It's a completely different experience than what you're getting with Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I mean, they're just offering completely different things. Or Resident Evil 2, compare those two. I mean, they're both remakes, remasters. I don't know. What do you want to say about that? But
I don't know.
How do you compare any of these games on this list?
Call of Duty can't even come up with a unique name anymore.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same game. Yeah, are they referring to this year's or like are they referring to the 2007?
The remake before that or the original one?
I voted for the Outer Wilds. Obviously, I talk about Outer Wilds, I mean, all the fucking time on the show. I tweet about it like on a weekly basis too. But like, and the reason, like, I think what makes a game of the year for me is a game that is unique. It's a game that it's a different experience, right? It brings a different play style or a unique experience to the table that you couldn't get anywhere else and you haven't gotten before. You can't get the Outer Wilds experience unless you play Outer Wilds. You definitely can't, but you can't get it by playing Outer Worlds. I know that, but like it's just, I mean, I've talked about it before, but it's based around that 22-minute time loop in the universe. No matter how long you survive, eventually the sun will implode and kill you anyway, but it saves your progress. You need to like keep finding clues as you go further and further. Does it have the most polish out of this list? No. Is it maybe the best game overall? Probably not. But like for me, I would rather reward a dev that's going to push the boundaries like that and not vote for Resident Evil 2 or Gears 5.
I think it's funny you said that, like the unique experience thing. And when I look at this list of games, that Untitled Goose Game jumps out at me, and it that's definitely like a unique presentation to a video game, but me personally, I don't think it belongs on any list for game of the year. It's not bringing.
It was kind of a meme, right? It was not that it's not good.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's definitely a little strange.
What the hell is Control doing on this list?
Have you played that?
I didn't. It came out like out of nowhere, and then it was like gone immediately. Jay played it, and he's like, I kind of liked it. I was like, dude, that didn't look interesting at all. Like, I don't.
It was like giving me a stomach ache watching it, to be honest with you.
Is it just me, or do you see a lot of, like, first of all, what the hell is the Golden Joystick Awards? This is the first time I've ever heard of this. The 37th Golden Joystick Awards? I've missed this 36 other times, and I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, it's not the official list, but I mean, I bet the official list probably looks something like this.
Have Untitled you heard Goose Game, of the Golden Joystick Awards?
I think, yeah, maybe. I think maybe. I don't know for sure. I could have seen it maybe in passing one time. I'm not positive.
Listen, there's only one video game awards, and it's on FX. All right.
Okay.
Is that the one?
There we go.
That's funny you said that though, because I was thinking that too. I was like, maybe I've seen this Golden Joystick Award thing, but then I had to look up, what's the most reputable one, and then it keeps coming up with this like British, like the BAFTA or something like that, the British Association of like Fine Arts or something like that, that does gaming awards. And I was like, I've never heard of this either. This is the most prestigious gaming award.
What was on this list before? Like the only 3 games that were ever out 36 years ago? Like every game that ever came out was on this list?
Pac-Man.
I don't know. I don't think Apex deserves to be on this list. I don't think Control deserves to be on this list. I don't think Gears of War 5 deserves to be on this list. There's a bunch. Resident Evil 2, I've never heard of Telling Lies. Goose Game, I don't know.
I heard Disco Elysium was really good, but I can't speak to it.
That one looks the most interesting, for sure. I definitely want to give that a try. And I almost feel like Resident Evil 2 kind of takes itself out of the running for best game of the year just because it's a remake.
Yeah, and because it stinks. Because it stinks, and it takes itself out of the running.
Whether it stinks or not, I mean, why would you? It's disappointing if a remake is the game of the year.
I agree. A remake should not be on the list, and neither should a $60 game that gives you 4 hours of quality playtime. Get it off the stinking list.
Where's any of the auto chess titles that have been on the top 5?
That's interesting.
Twitch. Where's like Bloodstained? Where's games that are actually interesting? What the hell is Resident Evil 2 doing on this list?
Where do they get away like with putting the Outer Worlds in Call of Duty Modern list? They just came out.
I don't get Call of Duty at all. It's been out for 3 days.
It's just Call of Duty.
I
so it's
understand
just like,
but I understand that the journalists probably got a chance to play it before others, but like you don't know public perception at that point. Like people might really not like it.
Yeah.
I understand that Call of Duty is a safer bet than most, especially the Modern Warfare title, but I don't know. It seems kind of weird.
just 1 minute after release, Metacritic's like 10.
Yeah, here. Oh, Game of the Year. Call of Duty. It's been out since yesterday.
Like things like that just make me think that like these awards, like they just pay to be placed on the list. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem legit to me. It seems like there's some kind of like, oh, golden joystick, pay like here's golden joystick, here's money, put our game on the list, even though it's been out for fucking 2 days.
Sekiro probably actually deserves it. But like I said, I think it's probably like the best game that came out this year. Sekiro. I think like when you look at just like everything, like art style, combat, music, originality, plays well, looks good, everything. It's everything, right? Like that's what you want for your game of the year. I think it's like almost like a God of War or Witcher 3. It's like a game that has it all. But again, I would rather vote Outer Wilds. But
like there's still some.
I don't know that Outer Wilds actually like it's deserved. Sekiro deserves it.
I don't think that these games I'm about to mention deserve to be on this list, but there's so many other games I think it would be on here rather than putting like, okay, Gears of War 5 is a new game, right? Resident Evil 2, I'm gonna beat the shit out of Resident Evil 2 here. Like
Please
put the Division 2 on there. Put, Ghost Recon Breaking Point on there. Both those games are trash, but I'm just saying they're not a remake.
Where's
They're
Kingdom
their
Hearts
own
3?
game.
Where's
There you
Kingdom
go.
Hearts 3? It was the second top seller of the year.
What about Borderlands 3? Does that?
Yeah, where's that?
Borderlands 3.
Why isn't that just on the list? Like Dave said, is it a money thing? Did they?
I don't know.
get
Why
too
would-
much flack around them because of the Epic Games thing?
Why would Borderlands 3 not surpass Outer Worlds? Well, Outer Worlds is an Epic Games game.
Oh well, never mind that. Well, maybe was it like a big deal, the exclusivity thing?
I mean,
remember
it's,
making the
it's
same.
not on Steam, but it could be elsewhere.
Where's
Yeah.
Metro Exodus?
Yeah.
Good point, actually.
I don't
Those are
know.
the kind of games that are kind of geared.
Where's Link's Awakening?
Yeah,
Remake.
Is there like do they have like any like official like criteria of how they choose what games get put on the list?
they don't say in the article.
Yeah, it just seems like it's all fucking rigged and they just put on whatever the fuck they either want or whatever they get paid to do, or you know what I mean? I just
I
just
don't
don't see
see-
it being any other way.
I don't see Fortnite Chapter 2 on here, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Has any of the From Software's games gotten a Game of the Year? Like from any outlet?
Dark Souls 2 did. I know that, and I know Demon Souls did as well. Because I was looking.
Dark
into
Souls 1 didn't win Game of the Year. There's a real problem.
Not on the sources I looked at. I didn't see it win Game of the Year.
How
which
could
was
it not?
surprising?
What
'cause I
beat
thought
it?
How
the
could
original
two-
Dark Souls was
Did
better. than
Skyrim
2.
beat it? It was 2011, right? I think it was
Skyrim. Yeah, Skyrim did win a lot on a few different years, so that might have been the issue. there.
Skyrim might have beat it. Which, like, if any game's gonna beat Dark Souls, like in almost like in the decade, I would at least let it be Skyrim.
Yeah, but
Skyrim was a great game.
what about 3? Like, why would you give 2 the worst one of the entire lot? Game of the
Must have
Year.
been a bad year.
Because they like don't actually know what they're doing, and they saw that everyone loved Dark Souls, so they said, "Oh, it's 2. Well, better make a Game of the Year. We know people like this, right?" I feel like that's kind of how it works.
Oh, by the way, I'm a piece of garbage, and you can talk shit on me for the rest of my life, but I bought Link's Awakening.
For $60.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Pussy.
I know. Shame.
Hey, what remains of
Shame,
Edith
shame.
Finch won Game of the Year 2017 with
It
the
did,
BAFTA?
yeah. It didn't it? BAFTA, you know what? That is what it's called, right? Looking through their list, they definitely go for the more creative end of video games. I think they
I like
look
that.
for the more like story driven, artistically, high fidelity sounds and graphics and things like that. I think that's what they're looking for.
Mm.
Those games that are really like geared to, they're made to win awards, like the Witcher 3 and Edith Finch, I guess you could say that.
You're saying these lists here, Joyce?
The BAFTA list, the
Oh.
games that BAFTA has put on its or has given awards in the past. If you want to look into that one as well. This one, I think it's like meme as shit. Goose Game, it's hilarious, but it's just it's like a meme game. Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's called fucking Goose Game. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, don't indie developers have their whole own like award bracket? So
they do.
I mean, I feel like this would just get drowned in everything else. So why would you even put it on this list? Just let it be in its indie bracket and leave it alone.
Right. Yeah, when you look at like the budget of games, well, I would almost sort of hate to discriminate that way, like the budget of a game, indie games versus
right. But look at some of the
titles. But yeah,
like how could it ever tread water with these games? Like I never even heard of Goose Game before I looked at this article.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it on Reddit a few times, but yeah.
Yeah. So
it's like the same meme over and over. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just put Duck Game on there. Like, what the fuck?
Just maybe just wins. Maybe it is the best game. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Maybe it's just the best game.
It's just the best game because it is.
Overwatch won in 2016 at the Game Awards. I think I consider maybe the Game Awards to be like the most prestigious. I don't know if it's like the best. Like it really gets the best game. So that's the one that's like normally on TV the most, I think. It's like the biggest spectacle.
Yeah, that's probably the one that I'm definitely the most familiar with.
Yeah.
You would think they would all get more, more screen time and stuff now with like Twitch and YouTube streaming and stuff like that. You would think that would be a big to-do anymore, that people would get on just to watch that.
I want to look at the list of all the games that have come out.
It's a little weird that like everybody has their own list. Like, why does every journalist site need to have their own Game of the Year list? It's really strange to me.
Do they need to come together?
I think they do. Like, I don't know that it's definitely subjective. Like, I think that's like why we're having this conversation is because there is such a wide variety of games, but it's not like that fucking subjective. You don't need like 60 different opinions. Like 4 or 5 would probably be good. You could have like the BAFTA, that's like the more indie. You could have like the Game of the Year, you could have like this big one, and then you could have like a few that, and I know that they have different awards like within it, but I don't know, like crowning one game of the year. That's what everybody looks at. Like when you look back in history, like, okay, what were the best games that came out? People are going to look at these lists.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, oh, what won best indie game? Nobody cares. They're going to look at Game of the Year.
That's true.
What about games like Three Kingdoms?
Yeah. Everything's so like what's hot right now. It's like it's here and then it's gone the next second. Like there's so few games that have like a ton of staying power. Even on this list, even with like the advent of the MMOs, all these different styles of MMO games, like none of this stuff like you're really going back to and playing. The only thing I can think of, like Skyrim, I still go back and play. Divinity, I'll still go back and play. Nothing on this list that I've played do I like get the urge to go back and play, or do I think I'll get the urge to go back and play like in the next few years here. It's just like they were just like a blip on the radar, and you're back to the massive multiplayer games.
I'm looking at a whole list here, and I can think like Anthem came out. I'm not saying it deserves it, but Anthem, Jump Force, Crackdown 3, the new Far Cry game, Dead or Alive, Devil May Cry 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's just March.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's so many here. Mortal Kombat.
They should be on the list, right?
Mortal Kombat sold really well. It was a top selling game of the year.
Rage 2.
FIFA 20.
Outer Wilds.
Yep.
Who said that?
trolling.
I don't know. There's just a bunch here. I mean, look at everything that was announced in the last few E3s. I don't see half the games that were like big deals in the E3s on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that funny to think of though? Like the hype that you can build around a game, and like then how bad the game turns out to actually be.
When's Pokemon come out? Before the end of the year?
Yeah,
November, I believe.
15th.
Like 15th. Yeah.
These lists are jumping the gun big time.
This one especially. I know a few other ones wait much later. They're like voting for games that
In like
really
January.
did come out like early 2019 and like late 2018 and stuff like that.
The Game Awards didn't even have their list up yet. I mean, I would have loved to use theirs for this conversation, but this is kind of what we had.
Code Vein.
Yeah, Code Vein is okay. It's not doing anything major. There's like some good fan service, but that's about it. The combat's really shoddy.
So when you look at this list of games, like I think you could make the argument that you need to expand the list to like include so many more games. I feel like if you're going to include like Apex Legends, then you got to throw in like every shooter that was every shooter that came out. You're going to throw in Resident Evil 2. You got to put in WoW Classic. You're going to throw in the Untitled Goose Game. You got to throw like some more indie stuff in there. Like
Bloodstain.
Yeah, sure. Fire Emblem. I'm a little indifferent on that game personally.
Me too.
I'm not a big fan of it, honestly, but
I think it starts out really, really slow, and I think it gets a lot better as you go. But it's hard to get past the first like 10 missions because it takes like 20 hours to do it. So, it's like, and you can only teach the kids so much. I mean, you know, if they're not willing to learn, what can you do? What can you really do?
The school grounds, giving it back to them.
I've been hitting Link's Awakening real hard too. I spent the first like 5 hours playing that game just fishing and doing like a little crane game in the first village, and I already had 4 hearts.
You've really changed.
And like everything, but
you know that.
I know. Fuck me.
Let's jump into a more expanded conversation. I think just about like what this topic's really about, and it's not really like about the games that are in the selection, but it's more about like when you think about a game of the year and you go back and look at old game of the years, what in your mind separates those from the pack? Like if you did have to choose 8 games to be on the list and you had to choose one, like what qualities are you looking for? Like are there like distinct qualities that you can pick out and choose and see, or are they more intangible? Like what is it? And is it like a more overall package, or is it just like the most popular, or a blend of everything?
I'll go first because I usually am different. I feel like you guys like you guys are into like the single player games and stuff where like that's not really my thing. So for me, it's all about replayability is obviously very important to me. Like I don't want to just play the game for fucking 10 hours and never play it again. So like it can be like a really cool game, but if I can't play it for more than like a week, like not good enough for me. So replayability, multiplayer, like competitive, like ranks, something that I can measure myself against the other people that play the game, so I know where I stand. So whether that be a ladder or, you know, a ranking system or whatever you want to call it, that's important to me. And then games that like are evolving. So like most games are evolving now, right? There's always patches or updates or meta shifts or whatever. That's the other important thing to me to qualify a game to be game of the year.
You like competition.
Yeah, I can't help it. That's just how I am. I need like a measuring stick.
Oh, the Meads are a proud family.
Yeah, I don't know. What about you guys? Matt, I feel like I can't put a finger. I don't know either of you. I don't know if I can put a finger on you guys.
It's because I'm an intangible guy. Through and through. It's more like the I have trouble even describing it because I don't know myself. I can't put my finger on it. It's more like the experience or the feeling that you get when you play it. It's like the playing it for a couple days and then being at work and then like all you can think about is playing it again and progressing in the story, right? And it's so rare nowadays. But when you're playing it, you know you're playing it. It's like the Divinity Original Sin 2, right? Like it's Skyrim when it came out in 2011, or Dark Souls when it came out. Like they were just a cut above. It was like not only did they have unique qualities that were fresh and expanded a genre, but they also had the polish, they had the atmosphere, they had the soundtrack, they had the combat, like they had everything. Like they had a story, maybe not Skyrim, but they just have like, they're the best in their category, like across 10 different spectrums, and they have that intangibleness where it's just better. And you know it when you play it. It's just the best game that came out.
That's a good way to put it. Like, you know it when you play it. You really do. You get that, like, that sensation, that euphoric feeling that what do they
sounds like you got a video game addiction, bro.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, yeah, you're playing it and you're like, holy shit, this game's really good. This was actually worth the $60 I paid for it. You're playing and you're like, I would have paid $100 for this game.
Yeah, I would never play it.
It's so rare. It's so rare nowadays.
I don't know if... Yeah, I definitely agree with what you both said, Dave and Matt. You know, depending on what I'm looking for at that time, I think my tastes kind of fluctuate, you know, depending on the season, what time of year. But but really, I wanted to say I thought that it was like the music and the soundtrack, but I think it's more, not so much that, but I mean, what that kind of thing gives you, I think it's the atmosphere and the attention to detail in a video game. I don't think it necessarily has to be like the best at anything. And what I mean by that is, you know, you play a role-playing game and you say that, you know, this is your game of the year. For me, it doesn't have to be like the best, like best story I've ever seen. It doesn't have to have the best music. It doesn't have to have the best like combat system. It has to be able to like immerse me and make me believe in the world. Sure, those things help, you know, make me believe more like in what I'm sitting down and ingesting. You know, I want like those fine, like attention to detail kind of things that maybe you don't notice them while you're playing, but like when you look back at the game, you're like, wow, like these guys went above and beyond. Like when I go back to the Divinity Original Sin, like, you know, what the Joe Schmo NPC said in like that random house in the middle of nowhere that you probably don't ever even have to like go into, but like it just helps build the world and flesh it out. Like the small little pieces of narrative you might find, you know, strewn about like a certain level of a game or just in the open world in general, like those little fine points that just bring you in and make you believe like, okay, like I'm here now and I'm not, you know, I'm not in Pennsylvania anymore, you know.
Yeah,
I'm in the game.
It's a sign of quality and a sign of care. It's careening through the universe, you know, only to find yourself like sitting next to your best buddy playing the banjo as you sit down and put a marshmallow to the fire and watch the planet that you're on get sucked into a black hole and the sun implode right in front of your face, right? It's the Outer Wilds, baby. It's just the best.
Yeah, I know you. You were excited to watch me play that game, so I know you like that game so much.
It's
like,
a great
you just
experience.
Wanted me to. And you brought something up, Wolf, that kind of, I mean, this is kind of a little off the, you know, little veering off the path here for a second, but Matt brought up Skyrim and how it was a cut above. Wolf said, you know, you really go back and you look at a game and that's what makes you think. And I'm kind of just, and this is going to be a controversial statement here, but I think that
don't do it.
The more a Bethesda rolls out, the less Skyrim is a great game. I you know.
Well, why do you say
poor
that?
English right there? But
well,
like,
flesh that out a little bit for me so I can understand.
All right, look. So the soundtrack is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah, it is.
I'm not going to take that away. Now look back at Skyrim critically and not nostalgically. What was good? What was so great about Skyrim's combat? Nothing.
It wasn't very good.
How buggy was Skyrim? A fuckload. You know, and and look at Oblivion and Morrowind before that. But like what Wolf said is that like Skyrim was good at the storytelling. You know what I mean? And like you would talk to that NPC in the random shack out in BFE, you know, and it, you know, like, wow, I spent the last 20 minutes talking to this guy about nothing that game gets me anywhere in the game. You're like, oh, sure, that's good, but I just, and the more I look at Skyrim, the less I think it's a great game.
But I think,
you know,
well, I agree. In 2019, looking back at Skyrim, it actually looks like it's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and it plays like a piece of shit.
It does. Yeah, it does. It's hard to play. It is. It stinks. But like, it's hard to look at it now because we're 8 years into the future, and like other games have like done it better. Like, The Witcher 3 is almost like, in essence, like a little expanded Skyrim in a way, and it's just better. I mean, The Witcher 3 overshadows Skyrim in almost every avenue, I think. But like Skyrim in 2011, it was the best. And I think also when you've already played Skyrim and you know what happens, like you know the story's like a little bit bland, it takes the allure away from Skyrim. But when you're first dropped into Skyrim, there's so many different paths seemingly that you can take between creating your character and leveling up and just doing whatever and fighting the dragons. I don't think any other game has done that better. Maybe not even to date. Like, the world feels really good when you're dropped in for the first time. Yeah, it's bland. Upon critical review later after playing it, it's bland. But it doesn't feel bland when you play it the first time.
I was far more immersed when I was fighting Randy Savage.
What?
That's what you're gonna say? That's your comment after that?
I don't know. I agree. Like, I like Wolf's point about it, and like that makes Skyrim good. And I know that soundtracks are a big deal for you, Matt. That's why I think you were drawn to Outer Wilds so much. So like soundtracks are a big deal to you. And I'm not just sitting here to make a point to trash Skyrim just because you guys said it was good. I just like the points you brought up and the way Wolf worded what he said. Just maybe go back and think about it a little more critically. I don't think it deserved as many rewards as it did now. I don't think that it deserved to be released as many times as it did either. You know? But,
I can't disagree with you there.
Yeah.
That's my rant on Skyrim. I'll let it go, but I think I'm with Wolf to come around with me, and it's really kind of like a seasonal thing for me, like flavor of the month. You know, like it really kind of has to match up with what I'm feeling in that particular moment and that time
but
period.
I mean, like, what games? Okay, like, but like, what games would you say are your favorite? Like, what are your favorite games? Like, what's the best game you've played?
See, that's the thing that's different from me from you guys is I play a lot of different games, you know. But
yeah, but so do I. I do too.
Yeah, I do play a lot of garbage.
Dave doesn't. Dave plays about
I
3
play
games.
Blizzard games and Riot games, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The crop.
I'm willing to try whatever. You know, I've wasted a lot of money on bad games, and I feel like I've played a lot of games that, you know, I really enjoyed too that aren't normally what. But I mean, your question to me is like what my favorite type of game is, like genre.
No, just like what is like when you think about what the best gaming experience you've had, like what like is the best product that you've ever purchased? Like what game gave you the best experience? For whatever reason, it could be multiplayer or story or anything.
There's 2 games that do that for me. It was Halo 2 and DayZ, and I think DayZ it was just because I was so immersed in like the RP. And Halo 2 for the shit talking competition.
Well, you're a big BioShock guy too, aren't you?
I liked it, but it was never one of my favorite games. You know, like I've really enjoyed, like I'd say probably a game like Knights of the Old Republic is one of my all-time. Like I said, it's just so different. Like look at those 3 games I just made. They're totally different games.
Yeah, but I would say like I liked like Kingdom Hearts 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. Halo 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. Dark Souls, Skyrim. I don't know. I'm all over the place too.
Right. Like let me throw the
like,
question right back
Outer
at
Wilds,
you. You know?
Chris. Like, what's the best game I've ever played? The most quality game of all time? Like, what do I think the best game I've ever played is?
It was a hard question.
It's Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1.
Best
game I've ever.
quality,
The
just
best game I've ever. The best gaming experience I've ever had by far. Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
It is Dark Souls 1.
What about you, Wolf?
The best game. Give me a minute to think about this.
Multiplayer, it's Halo 3, but like I consider that a little bit different. So like game, like a packaged game. Yeah, Dark Souls 1.
The best game you ever played?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Best
for me, it's
gaming
obviously
experience.
World of Warcraft. I can't.
Yeah. Which that's a good choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I've literally, if there's a game that I've played for literally 15 years, to me, it's, at least in my perspective, it's a fucking good game. To the ups and downs.
Competitively, it's Halo 2
That's a great
for me,
game.
and I would think in a story mode, I would probably have to I think Knights of the Old Republic is what's swimming in my head right now.
It's a great game.
It is, yeah.
Majesty is
Damn.
Wolf's favorite game.
Yeah, you know what? It's up there. It's like
We
it's
found it.
definitely top 5 for me. But if you were to go off my most played games on Steam, it would be Dungeon Defenders. Spent the most hours on that.
We spent a lot of
surprisingly.
time playing Dungeon Defenders, yeah.
That definitely not the best game experience. It's between Total War Shogun 2 and but I think it might actually be Sid Meier's Civ 5. I think that
It's a great
might
game.
be the best experience in a game.
We're all over the map.
I think we definitely left out a really great game. It goes by Plants vs. Zombies Garden
Garden
Warfare.
Warfare, you're right.
Wow. Incredible.
overlooked.
I'm not even like being funny. Incredibly
It's pretty funny.
underrated. Incredibly underrated game.
Dark
Incredibly
Horse.
underrated.
The problem
No,
with me is
like
if you
it
ask
never
me,
got the recognition it deserved because it's like just plants, right? But like it's
Yeah.
a great shooter. Yeah.
It's not
Yeah, it
just
was like-
plants.
I thought that game was fun as shit.
if you ask
Zombies too.
if you ask me again next week, I'd probably tell you something different. You know,
That's a good point.
I'll ask you next week.
Yeah, same.
See,
Yeah,
Call
Dave,
you
yours
for
would change.
Blitzchung.
Yeah, days would change. Well, I really wanted to take this conversation down to this next point, and Dave kind of hit this with this Fortnite Chapter 2, and I wanted to talk about, with the live service models in games lasting 10 years now, is it really fair to like give the game of the year away to a game that just came out when maybe the real best game right now is a game that's been out for 10 years? Like League of Legends or Fortnite or whatever. Definitely not Apex. But I just looked at the Game Awards. They have it. It's best ongoing game. They beat me to the punch. I think they probably beat me by a few years. So that's embarrassing.
what is it?
It's not out for 2019.
What was 2018?
I can look it up.
So I'm
Probably like Fortnite or something. I don't know. But actually, did Fortnite come out in 2018 officially?
I don't know. You did say that earlier about maybe we don't need like 8 million
Fortnite.
game awards, but I mean it makes it really hard when you say like I do feel like we need this current ongoing game award. Do we really need to know that? I don't know, but it's nice to know it.
I don't know what
I think
I don't think
I just
Fortnite.
think that the devs I think just deserve it. Just because like I think they still put a lot of time and effort into those games. I mean, they are like different games. I mean, I say this almost every week, but it's the product you're buying day one isn't the same product 3 years later, and I stand by that. It's so true.
I can't believe I'm hearing this from you, that you're going to give this to a game like Fortnite when
Me?
you play League of Legends.
No, I just said it was Fortnite. I didn't say no. I didn't say anything about it. I said 2018 Fortnite won.
You said the devs deserve it. Were you talking about them, or you're just saying devs in general?
Devs in general that have these live service.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a tough gig to keep your players
Yeah, for sure.
satisfied, especially like a community that's been around for years. Man, they get fucking antsy, dude. They think they know the game better than you, and it's rough.
Gaming's a tough racket.
It is a tough racket. Those subreddits get nasty. Everybody's an expert of the game. They've played it for 2 years. They know it better than the coders.
Except
Yeah,
they're
it's
silver.
It's insane.
League.
All right. So,
Dum-dums.
what's
Just
your
like us.
best new release and best updated current game? What is it?
Oh, okay. Well, I said I would vote Outer Wilds, like I said before, because I think that I would rather reward a dev that like pushed the boundaries of something new. That's why I would vote for Outer Wilds, but I think Sekiro probably actually deserves it this year. Best ongoing game?
Say League, because that's the right answer.
Something's pushing me towards Destiny 2, but I am going to say League.
Oh, God. It's only been out for a year.
Nah, it came out. Did that come out in 2018?
Yeah, it's 2019.
Yeah, but it's ongoing.
All right, you're entitled to your own opinion.
No, I said I'd say League.
Yeah, you're gonna ask him his opinion, and then you're gonna
Yeah, I'm definitely entitled to it.
call him crazy.
It's mine.
You're crazy, man. I'm the last guy to go to.
Yeah.
Would
Would
anyone say anything?
Going back on
I don't know.
the
Would anyone say anything other than League?
Outer Wilds / Sekiro, League of Legends.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Ask me next week.
League of Legends. I like League of Legends a lot, but I'm watching Worlds right now and I'm eating it up. I love that shit, but I don't know if it is the best ongoing game. The up and down swings like in the meta and stuff like that. When I actually play the game myself, fucking hate it. I hate it so much. But when I watch other people, like good people play, I mean that's fine. I could do that all day.
Yeah, but if you
Spectators
jumped into any ongoing game once every 8 months, you'd hate all of them.
Well,
That's kind of like the thing about ongoing games. Is
I don't know if I believe
into.
that, because it's not like I'm at a, like the hand, what do I want to say, like the recognition, the coordination, the whatever, because I've been playing MOBAs consistently the entire time, so that's still there. I've been watching League the entire time and playing it since it came out. It's not like I'm going and jumping from like Fortnite into like Roblox and shit like back and forth like that,
No, I don't really know what you're saying, because you really don't play that many MOBAs right now. So when you jump into League, I don't know. That's how I feel.
Well, I
And
haven't been
HOTS,
playing. Yeah,
and HOTS isn't very comparable to League. But like if you jumped into Hearthstone, for instance, impossible. Sucks. You jumped into Overwatch right now, impossible. It sucks.
Okay, can I say like comparatively to what League I used to, I don't know,
Oh my God.
game that I used to enjoy, just the way the meta played out and stuff, the way the games develop.
Yeah.
I don't like it as much.
Yeah, I don't either.
This is like one of the least most like game involved political topics we've done, and it's probably the most we've been on each other's shit on the show the whole time. And it's like the most like opinionated, have your own free opinion here, and we're all like, I genuinely
believe the ongoing games are just really hard to jump into. I really do. I think even Destiny 2, like if you try to pick it up mid-season, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
I don't know, because I could pick up WoW and go right into it. I'd have
at least retail WoW. There's so many catch-up mechanics now. To like, you know what I mean? If you're behind, just to like, you can play for like, if you like level boost a character and play for like a day, you can get like, benthic gear or whatever, and like be at least like useful to some. You know what I mean? It's pretty easy to like get gear on your character that's at least like reasonable. There's not a lot of barriers to entry.
Here's my wallet.
Yeah.
Do I win now? Did I win?
But like, I mean, a lot of times if you haven't downloaded the game, when you buy it, you get one character boost for free. So
that's true. I used it.
It's like if you want to catch up in that game, I don't think it's that hard. I mean, it's definitely easier if you have friends that play it. That it's like super easy to catch up. They can just like run you through shit and like gear you up like lickety split. But even if you're playing solo, it's not that bad to catch up.
Yeah, I played Legion for about a week, and I had 2 max level WoW characters, and I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing on there.
Yeah, right. If you just put in like any amount of time, like a reasonable amount of time, you're going to be able to like be caught up per se. It's just a time commitment. That's all. But just like anything else, really, I guess.
Yeah, it's not enjoyable, so that's why I don't do it, and that's why it wouldn't win my recurring game of the year.
No, I have a lot of trouble with MMOs.
Well, I think you all have a clinical disorder.
What's that?
Why I think y'all have clinical disorders.
You want to jump to trending news? I've been getting ready. You want to jump down? I've been gearing up. Okay. First news story of the day. A study has found insufficient evidence that gaming is a clinical disorder. So we covered a story about 3 to 4 months ago. I'm sure you guys remember. Josh, I don't know if you were on here at that time, but you might have listened to it. In which the World Health Organization had officially classed gaming as a disorder. And they had outlined this like huge list of what requirements or what actions they had classed as having the disorder. But basically, just to sum it up, it was anyone that was letting gaming get in the way of their daily life or responsibilities was considered to have this disorder. Which, like, I mean, you could say that like almost about anybody. Like, oh, do you like having fun over like doing your chores? Well, like you might have a gaming disorder. Makes no sense. But a new study has recently been released that states quite the opposite. And here are just some quotes from both the study and the woman who performed this study. So, our findings provided no evidence suggesting an unhealthy relationship with gaming accounts for substantial emotional, peer, and behavioral problems. If we do stigmatize people basically as being addicted to video games, we might take away those video games when they might be a coping mechanism for a deeper underlying problem like depression or anxiety. So she's basically saying quite the contrary to the original claim by the WHO, which is video games are not the disorder. They're actually the mechanism that helps people with a certain disorder like cope and get through their daily life. So I don't know what you guys think about this, but I'm definitely glad to not be classed as having a disorder by the World Health Organization anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have any of the credentials to say what's right or wrong here, but I know that I've played video games for a long time, and I could probably say that for a lot of times it's been a release for me. You know, I wouldn't say that I have any, you know, I'm depressed or anything like that, but just come take a load off and fall into your whatever game you decide to be involved in, you know.
Like that one song by Kenny Chesney. Everybody's got to find their way to escape reality, you know?
Hell yeah.
Some people like to go to a bar. Some people like to play video games, you know?
Does he say that in the song?
No.
Oh, okay.
Talks about the beach bar, nothing about video games. But everybody does have their way to escape reality.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And you can be doing a lot worse things than gaming, right?
Right. And just, I think, like, as a general rule of thumb, I think most people agree that too much of anything is not good for you, regardless of what it is. Video games, working, drugs, gambling, working out. Like, you can probably, you know what I mean? You can do things that, like, too much.
Sports.
Yeah. Just too much of everything is usually not good for you. So it's not, like, I don't think that's a unique thing to video games.
Tide Pods.
Yeah. Sometimes it could only take just one.
Everything in moderation. Yeah, Tide Pod.
Yeah.
Tide Pod. Yeah, you're thinking. I'm kind of bummed out that this came out. I was actually using this gaming disorder to get out of work. So
I'm not.
Now, yeah, I can now. When I go to cite the research, I got this thing hanging over my head that it's not true.
You might have like a week or two before this really hits the mainstream.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bury this somehow.
I'm not fit for duty.
Not fit. I got a disorder.
We run our own study. It's like completely contrary.
I gotta go home and play TFT.
But I mean, that's, you say that, but that is like how it works. Like people pay for the research to say what they want it to say. And I'm not sure if this was one of those cases, but it might have probably been one of those cases where somebody paid for some research to say that this is a disorder, and then somebody got upset and looked into it. Now they're saying, like, hold on a second, these people might need a coping mechanism, and you're going about this making them feel like they're savages for sitting around playing video games all day. Now you're doing a lot more harm than good.
Well, kudos to whoever paid for it, because I really like it. I mean, it's just true. Like, there's so many people that game right now, especially young kids, I feel like. And if you took that away, I don't know, like, a lot of people just do it for fun, but like, there's probably a lot of kids that like don't have a lot of friends or might not have like a great family life or something. Like, what else are they gonna do?
Right, and like,
I mean, there like is no other option.
I mean, like, I have friends in real life. Obviously, I'm not like a fucking destitute loser or anything, but
destitute loser.
But like you know what I mean? We've met people online that we've never met in person before that are now our friends, and like we literally are going to BlizzCon with them. So like it's not that weird to like befriend people online, because like you have similar interests, and like it's no different. It's really no different than meeting someone in person.
Have you ever
I
told?
have friends that are online that I like. They're just as good of friends as like people that I know in real life. So
Have you ever?
It's just a stigma. That's all. God, I'll shut the fuck up now.
Oh no, you're good. I was just gonna say, have you ever told somebody that you're meeting people that like aren't?
Oh yeah.
You know, and they look at you like, "Fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah, the first time I told my girlfriend, she was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, you weirdo?" I was like, "Listen."
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody from work or like anyone that I
like.
talked
I mean,
to
like
we're going to BlizzCon. I just said like I'm out of here.
I always just say like. I mean, there's certain people that I tell, but like I don't want to, because I just get tired of fucking explaining it. You know. You're like, you know what I mean? You're like, I'm going to BlizzCon. You're like, what the fuck's that? Are you fucking weirdo? What the fuck's wrong with you? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, just shut the fuck up. I was like, I'm just going to visit my friends in California. I have a buddy that lives out there. We're going to see him.
It doesn't matter if it's BlizzCon, but I mean just meeting your friend. You know, like I've known Slayer for like Brian for almost 10 years now. And even after I've known him for 5 or 6 years, I said, I'm meeting somebody first time. They're coming up and visiting. And they look at me like, you don't know him. You don't know. It's like, yeah, I spent like every night for 4 hours a night playing a fucking video game with him. Like, I know he's not out there like killing people or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here playing games with him on a daily basis. You know?
Yeah, that's usually what I say. It's like I literally talk to these people for like 3 hours a day, every single day for months. Like, it's literally, you probably know them better than the people that you know in real life. Like,
You
literally.
definitely do, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
And I
not,
feel
it's
like
like not even that
people-
weird.
I feel like people that you're gaming with normally, like they're not really shielding themselves. Like it's usually because like you don't know who they are. Like they're just
Right.
being themselves.
Yeah, everybody's being
It's like the
real,
one
yeah.
place where like they're actually looking for like a real connection. They don't have to like put up some kind of fake.
The good ones are.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. I mean, you can be an idiot online too. I mean, there's both.
right, but like I feel like when you're playing with people that's like that you're like partying with or like raiding with or being in a guild with or whatever you want to call it, people, because you're on the internet and you're like anonymous, people are like more authentic or genuine to like how they actually are. Because like you're not sitting in front of each other, you don't know what each other look like, you just, you know what I mean, you just hear them talk and you have a common like, you know, goal or interest, and people just are who they are because there's no, you know what I mean, there's no like weird boundaries.
I think you need to make an important distinction there, though. Like it definitely, like you said, like it's the people you spend extended periods of time with, because obviously those one-off experiences you get on the internet can be some of the worst experiences.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna find anywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying, like, if you're like a lot, like for WoW, for example, like if you're in a guild with people and you're raiding together every night, you're just gonna grow closer. Like that's how, like we started a guild in the beginning of Legion, and we just started raiding, and like there's people that because of that I still talk to, literally just because we raided together in WoW, and like we are literally flying across the country to go hang out with them and go to BlizzCon, which I don't know, like. I guess it may, like, it's really not that weird. It's actually pretty fucking cool. So,
which like I'm more excited to just hang out with them and like drink beer and stuff than the actual convention. I mean, like the convention's gonna be great. Don't get me wrong, but it's more like just hanging out and doing whatever.
Yeah, right. It's like you only see them once a year, and like it's your time to see them.
Any gamer who's listening to what we're saying right now has found a community and knows exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, the Arcadian Discord is one such community.
But yeah, that's you know, you're making a like a valid point. Like those are guys who like games like we do and came in and were like, I want to talk to these guys too, you know. So
Bazooka and V and Skelly and I mean, they're
Dandy,
great guys.
all those guys.
Yeah, I really like talking to them. Okay, the Twitch streamer Shroud has officially moved to Mixer. I was actually really surprised to hear this because when they signed Ninja, I didn't think that they would do this again, but anyway, Shroud had over 7 million followers on Twitch and also had a record high February with over 15 million hours watched in the month. That's fucking nuts. This follows the news of Ninja being paid millions by Mixer a few months ago. I looked everywhere I could to see an actual payment amount for Shroud. I couldn't find it. I don't know if you guys saw anything, but I could not find a number. I'm sure it was in the millions, though, because that's what Ninja got.
Yeah. Has to be.
But I really want to talk about a bigger issue here, and it's if you're a huge streamer on Twitch, why would you ever consider moving to Mixer right now, like on your own volition? Like, you have no pressure to move. You can just stay on Twitch and keep making a lot of money and keep your audience, or you can get paid millions of dollars by Mixer to stream there exclusively. I feel like Mixer had to buy some top talent to move to get popular, but in doing so, they have now made it so no other big streamers will ever want to move. So I'm like not really sure how they win this war. And also on the back end of this, why Shroud?
Yeah, I get like they're kind of setting the precedent, like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll pay you to come here. So like, why would you ever go there unless you're getting paid? And I mean, the only other way people would go there willingly is like if the platform actually grows and gets more viewers than Twitch. That would be the only way people would actually switch other than getting paid, right? That's what other reason would there be? Yeah, I mean, other than like there's not as much competition on that platform, I guess, but like you're still competing directly with Twitch anyway. So like, I don't know. It just seems weird that.
Well, on top of that, it's like what you just said. If you're a big streamer, you say, well, I'm not going to move over there until they offer me a deal.
Right. That's like the precedent now, it seems like to me anyway.
Yeah, I'll stay here until they want to give me money. Then I'll go over there.
Right.
If they got money, why can't I get money?
That is definitely a really good point. But I don't know. I feel like this move is really, really good. When Ninja moves over there, I really don't give a shit. And it's not because of who Shroud is, but I think it's because of like, I mean, they went in and took like their biggest guy right out from under them. Like that's a lot of viewership. I think we're going to see Mixer really start to take off here. And I think that's what maybe they're banking on, is that not that we're going to have to pay like, Dr. Disrespect. We're going to have to pay like Summit and all those people to like come over to Mixer, but we're going to force them to come over here because the viewership's going to move now. We're going to get the numbers coming our direction.
I think that is like exactly what they're thinking. And I mean, hopefully it works for them. The only thing that is my fear with someone like Shroud, and I'll let Josh take it from here. I mean, I'll just say like one sentence and you can take it, Josh, but the guy's got no personality. Like if you want to bring fans over that are like loyal fans, like you need an entertainer, you need somebody like Doc. Shroud is not an entertainer. I feel like if people don't really like Mixer, like they could just have another Shroud that is like probably just as good at shooters, maybe like a little bit worse, but like what's the difference?
I agree with you that Shroud is like watching a cardboard, but I think the difference between Shroud, like Ninja,
you could stick a cardboard cutout of shot in his chair and you wouldn't notice a difference.
Yeah. Just have a hand moving for the mouse.
he's under the desk doing it.
A still image. So like even that commercial of him was like whack. It was like, what the fuck is this? But anyway, to go, well, I think, and like, I agree that Shroud is boring, but there are a lot of people who don't, and I think that Shroud has far more of a loyal fan base than somebody like Ninja.
Well,
and
like,
somebody might disagree with me, like I don't watch Ninja enough to know that maybe I'm sure he does. You have, look at the subscribers that he got after he moved. But a lot of people have stuck through Shroud and like Shroud just because he played CS:GO and still watch him. He's not playing CS:GO anymore. I mean, I feel like sorry, go ahead.
It just seems like in Shroud's case, like the people that like to watch Shroud aren't there for entertainment, like personality. They're there for like mechanics and gameplay. So it just depends on, as a viewer, what you want. Like there's always going to be viewers that want like the entertainment and the interaction and the personality, and there's going to be people that just want like pure mechanical gameplay and like
talent.
skill.
Yeah, but
talent, right?
That's the brand, right?
Well,
You know, I know
yeah.
you talk about Doc as a brand. That's Shroud's brand.
Right.
yeah,
And,
but
like, it's
you mean you
it's
guys are right.
hard
Listen, these
for
are all
him,
really
right?
good points. No, these are all really good points. I don't want to keep like being the contrary here, but I think skills and mechanics eventually fall off as you get older. Like there is some 16-year-old Shroud who probably has a better personality, God willing, for the kid, who can probably come up on Twitch and do just as well. And I think that that's the problem with banking on a personality that's purely skill based, right? Like he's not professional CS:GO anymore. He just like plays games well right now online. Like what happens when he starts getting a little bit slower? You know that younger kids are shooting better than him. You know they are.
Well, I mean,
Like where's
devil's
your investment go?
you could say the same thing about Doc. I mean, there's definitely people that are going to be, you know, better actors, more entertaining than somebody like Dr. Disrespect. And I'm sure we'll probably look back at this time period and be like, man, he was corny as shit, but
Yeah, but
he's
that
great right now.
That personality is it's easier to hang on. You can do that longer.
Maybe
that
it
brand
is.
No, it does. That brand exists longer.
But
For
this
sure.
is,
Oh, it does.
Everything's
That's
so young right now.
I mean,
It's in infancy.
we've talked about branding before, right? Like the branding personality is stronger than the skilled branding for sure.
Well,
I don't know that there's an argument there
I guess my question is
for the long term.
like when do
We
you
haven't
lose
seen
your
long
mechanical
term,
skill
though.
as a video game player? Like when are you too old to play video games? Do you like lose your skill? I guess is my question.
That's
I
when
think-
what like Matt's saying is the entertainment comes in and carries you the rest of the
Sure,
way.
but I think it's not like you're playing football and when you're fucking 35, your body's broken and you can't play anymore. I think you can play video games longer than you can play like football or a sport or whatever.
Yeah, you
the
can.
goat.
I'm just saying if your brand is like being the best, you have to be the best. That's all I'm saying. Listen, I'm sure it's gonna work out well for everybody.
You got to be at
I'm
the
just saying
tippity
that-
top.
I'm just saying that you could pick somebody a little bit better. That's all I'm trying to say.
You got to be at the tippity top, but really only halfway there.
Only halfway there, yeah.
Exactly. You pick the dog. That's what I'm saying.
I see what both of you are saying, and I can agree with both of you.
No,
I'm biased
think
towards Doc because I think
too.
that, like, as an adult, watching another adult like talk shit on little kids and and like just
Put it like that.
you know,
Jesus.
it's just fucking funny. You know what I'm saying? Like he is an entertainer through and through. Like he's not that, and I don't care if he's that good. And I've watched for me, you know, and I get, you know, and this is like what Matt's saying is the entertainment is more important, and I think it depends on the individual, and like Wolf is saying, we'll find out later which one is more important. You know, will Shroud die off because he has competition? Will Doc get too old to stream to the point where, you know, life is in the way or whatever? You know.
Well, that's another point. Is there's a lot more competition and skill than there is in Doc. But anyway, I think they're all really good points. I don't know who's going to be. I could be totally wrong, but let's jump down to this third news story. So the U.S. Congress has sent Blizzard a letter urging them to reconsider Blitzchung's suspension. So the senators that signed this letter were Ron Wyden, Marco Rubio, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Mike Gallagher, and Tom Malinowski. This is a long quote from the document, but I feel like this probably sums up the just the whole story in general. So I'm just going to read this. Just bear with me. Your company claims to stand by one's right to express individual opinions, yet many of your own employees believe that Activision Blizzard's decision to punish Mr. Chung runs counter to those values. Because your company is such a pillar of the gaming industry, your disappointing decision could have a chilling effect on gamers who seek to use their platform to promote human rights and basic freedoms. Indeed, many gamers around the world have taken notice of your company's actions, understandably calling for boycotts of Activision Blizzard gaming sites. The only question I have on this outline, it's probably the question I'm going to ask. What the fuck is this?
What my biggest gripe is, so like, okay, they're shitting on Activision Blizzard because of their alleged defense of China, blah blah blah. But like the NBA went over there and did like the same fucking thing and bowed to China, and they don't say shit to them. So like, why are they selective? If you're gonna, you know what I mean? If you actually want to stand for something, then fucking be consistent across all platform. You know what I mean? Across all people that are involved. Don't. Oh, NBA, it's fine, but then Blizzard, fuck you. You guys are scumbags. You know what I mean? Like, be consistent. Don't send a letter to one company and then let the other one just
walk.
not care. Like,
This is political bullshit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't even know what the fuck World of Warcraft is, or Hearthstone.
It's just another. We always say this. It's another opportunity to fucking grandstand. Get on your fucking pulpit and be like, "Oh, look how great we are. We care about everybody." When really no one gives a fuck about anybody. They're just in it for themselves, and to like good PR, right? Maybe I'm just, which I am, but
I'd like to see these guys host something and then have some kid come up and break every rule they put in place. And then when they, decided to enact some sort of discipline on this hypothetical person, everybody jumped on them, started sending them letters about how they should run their shit, Fuck you. Yeah. And the other thing about this is that I heard that they sent this letter after Blizzard had already lightened the load on him.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
And it's like, fuck you. You're obviously not even keeping up with the news.
Just out of touch, right?
Yeah, you're just going to send this letter, and just shame.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to, like, I think our original points that we made when we talk about this issue in the past. There were rules in place, right? There were rules explicitly stated that you don't fucking use their platform to express your views, no matter what they are. That was the rule. There's no questions that was the rule. Blitzchung said that he knew that he broke the rules. So what the fuck is everybody bitching about?
I can almost guarantee you he signed a waiver too.
Right.
I think
I guarantee you he signed a contract or a waiver.
Like, I get it. Like, fuck China. I'm with you too, but like, that's not the point. He broke the rules. That's the point.
I think I find it
just like China.
I mean, I find it the most funny. Like, it's actually like too good of a story to be true. Like, Dave talked about for a long time on the Blizzard, actual like whole podcast that we had on Blizzard. Just about like how Blizzard as a private company can't actually do anything about Hong Kong. And like the people that are saying and like trying to boycott Blizzard, like they're going to have no effect on anything for anybody in Hong Kong or China, right? Like there's no correlation there. These are people that work for the federal government or in a position to actually make a change, like on a country by country level. And they're like putting pressure on a private company to do so, when if they really wanted to do something about it, they could try to write a bill and put pressure on Hong Kong from inside the federal government, like they're supposed to do. These are like 6 of the people that actually have power to do something about this. And instead of actually doing something, they're writing this letter to Blizzard. I mean, give me a fucking break. I mean, how ironic is it? It's unbelievable. How stupid are they?
When you put it like that, man, do you not only do you make like them sound stupid, and then everybody that supports them sound stupid, and then everybody that's boo-booing Blizzard sounds stupid, but yeah. Man, what a total mess. Like you just said, like why? I mean, you just summed it up there perfectly. But why are we trying to make Blizzard out to be the bad guys?
I don't know.
When I mean, obviously China's the bad guy, and whatever the message here is, I don't get it. I feel like everything is just lost on people. Like they just start fighting towards like the wrong thing and throwing all this resistance at a company that really just wants to stay out of this and should stay out of this. This isn't their fight.
They were throwing something and having an event for their fans, for a hobby and a game that not only that we would hope that the company loves, but their fans do. And they're saying, come win money while you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I don't know. And now they're the bad guys, like you said. They're the bad guys.
Yeah, and it's just because people just always say like, oh, well, you're just catering to China, blah, 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 blah. And which, like, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But at the end of the day, there was a rule or rules, and they were violated. And usually when you break the rules, there are consequences, right? Or am I fucking dumb? Do I not understand it?
Yeah, both
I
you
can't
and
wait
You
to
Matt.
gotta crack a few eggs, Dave.
I can't wait to put this on the show next week again and have you say the same thing again.
Yeah, like I mean, like what the fuck?
You and Matt both
That-
made points that sums this up in a way that like we can't add to it that would make it any more clear on what our opinion is here. It doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
Dave, I'm not gonna say it again. and Matt, that was a great point you made. There's nothing left else to say. Like that that's exactly what it is. And
Yeah, you're right. We're honestly we're done
beat
with
it
this
to
topic.
death.
We're done with this topic until next week. So Google has very quietly announced the launch date of Stadia. So the launch date is November 19th, and if you're anything like me or anybody else on planet Earth, you probably heard absolutely nothing about this. It seems really strange because upon Stadia's first announcement, it was supposed to be this service that seemingly was going to eliminate all competition, and everyone was supposed to be playing it, right? I mean, that's how they came out and marketed it. Like, oh, you play games? Well, jump on Stadia, right? Like, this is the best. Now, upon launch, it seems that they're not as confident in their product as they used to be. And they also announced, just a little side note, that all who order the Founders Edition of this may not even receive the product on launch date. It's coming out late. And these are like the people that paid way more money for this. I don't know. What's the deal here? I mean, why do you think Stadia is launching in this secretive way?
This is no fucking good. That's why we knew it wasn't going to be any good, and I think
honest.
deep down, they knew it wasn't going to be any good, and they just got people to throw a bunch of money at it, and it's going to be. I mean, wow, is the fallout going to be bad from this? We're going to have some stories. You
Yeah.
thought those Fallout 76 loot bags were good. This is going to be fucking good.
when you guys were talking about Stadia, I wasn't involved. So it sucks that we can't get Ben back on here because Ben was really like, you know, on the side of Stadia here.
He was all about it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but you know, as a listener's point of view, which I was at the time, Ben was all for seeing what this was about. As a list, you know, so you know, where's Ben?
He's as quiet as Google right now. You can't get a word out of him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wanna
I'm
hear
just like personally for me, Stadia is just like a dumb concept because I kind of play the games that I play. You know, like I play WoW, I play League, I play like these games that just like are ever evolving, like, you know, ever expanding, patching, updates, blah blah blah. And like I don't want to pay for a subscription to play a bunch of fucking games. It just doesn't.
It's
Or like the streaming of it, like I
It's
feel
what
like
we talked about.
anything you stream just blows. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's always like hiccups in it, like things skip. Like there's no fucking way it's gonna work with the current level of technology. That's me. Maybe
It's
I'm
what
an
we-
idiot. I don't know.
No, you're right. And we talked about this. We had 2 back-to-back episodes on this. Episode 11 and 12, I think. Maybe 12 and 13. But it's the pricing. I mean, it's the hardware, it's the streaming, but it's the pricing. Like, the pricing models were insane. You had to pay a subscription fee, and then you still had to buy all the games full price, and they gave you a free game every month that they chose for you? Like, get out of here. I'm not paying
Yeah.
for that.
Sounds like a
I'm
concentration.
not paying for that.
It's stupid when you have stuff like Xbox Pass, and I'm not trying to give Microsoft any credit here, but Xbox Pass gives you every game that's on there for free. You know,
They strap you down and waterboard you too while you play it.
Yeah, and they make you watch. Make you watch
Strap
ads.
your hands to the controller. You can't leave if you wanted to.
you know,
Oh
like
man.
you can expect this to succeed with a direct competitor like Xbox Pass. Those games rotate every month. You get the newest games that come out every month, and you get all of them.
What's the PlayStation one?
PlayStation Plus.
Plus,
Is that what it
PlayStation
is?
Plus, yeah.
So who the fuck were these people who thought they could just come in here and charge people and then make them buy the games and think it was going to work out? Like,
I don't know. I feel
they're fucking Google.
bad for the
Just-
people that. Well, actually, I don't feel
Google it.
bad for the people that bought this because if you thought this was going to be good or something, I don't
you're
know
a
what
ding
you
dong.
didn't actually read any. You don't know what you're doing, but like, I kind of feel bad because like you see Google, you think like, okay, Google's going to take care of this, like it's going to be good. Unfortunately, like just with this launch, like if it was really ready to go, if they were confident in their game selection or their product or the amount of interest from the public, this would be all over the place. I haven't seen one ad for it. I haven't seen one story about it. It's coming out in 3 weeks.
Their founding supporters would get their product.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's bad.
Yeah, you get this weird ass controller that you probably can't even use on anything else.
It's the Mad Cats, yeah. It's
yeah, Rumble support. Break your wrists. This thing's got such shake.
All right, well that was a funny episode, man. We really went after it today.
Very passionate.
Yeah, we were rowdy. It was, I think, because we're going to Blitz.
Yeah, there wasn't even any alcohol involved this time.
I had a beer. I had one beer. I usually do for the show.
Oh.
Yeah, getting lit.
Yeah, Dave slammed up there. Look at him.
He's rooting for Pitt. He's rooting for Pitt. He's got to be slammed during football season. But thank you for coming on. A lot of fun. Another good show. Thank you for listening. As always, we really, really appreciate it. If you listen to these, if you watch these on Spotify, if you listen to these on Spotify and iTunes, watch the live odds. We put them over on YouTube as well as our other gaming videos. Consider leaving us an iTunes review. We really appreciate it. Or consider joining our Discord. We really like to talk to people in there and just share content and, whatever. Just goof off.
Everybody talks.
Everyone talks.
But thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week.
Fuck me, right?